Okay, the next thing I like to cover is our basic foot maneuvers. There's many of them in martial arts, but we've broken them down to just a few, 4, 5, or 6 that will work for everyone. Okay, from our fighting stance, the first one we have is called step through forward, where I take my rear leg and I step forward with it, stepping forward. Then the opposite of that is step through back, where I step through and go back. This may seem simple, however, you'll see later on why this is important to understand the terminology so that you don't get confused on the different foot maneuvers. So we have step through forward, step through back. Now on the step through forward, we might be throwing a punch, so it would be step through forward. On the step through back, it may be executing an inward block, or it could be stepping back and executing an outward block, or an upward block, or a downward block. So there's many reasons for it. Let's take a look at it from the side. I'm in a left fighting stance facing the front. For me, I step through forward, and I can throw a punch. Step back and execute the inward block. Okay, one more time. Step through forward, step through back. Okay, the next, foot maneuver I like to cover is the drag step. So from here, our back leg is going to drag up and then step. That would be drag step forward. If I want to go drag step backward, the front leg drags and the back leg steps. One of the things we have to maintain all the time while we're doing our foot maneuvers is bending our knees, staying low. We don't want to just walk like that. We need to have our knees bent. So this is called step through forward, step through back. Let's take a look at it from the side. Drag step. Drag step forward, drag step back. Again, drag, step forward, drag, step back. How could we use this? We could drag, step forward and punch. We could drag, step back and jab or punch. We could drag, kick, step forward, drag, step back, and kick. All right. The opposite of drag step is step drag. From here, we take a step first, and then we drag the opposite leg, whether that's step drag forward or step drag back. However, when we're doing the step drag, we need to be careful, because a lot of people will make this mistake. They'll take a step, and it's not that big, and then they'll drag too far and their feet are together. So from this position, it's step drag forward, step drag back. This is used in boxing a lot because it helps with that front hand jab. As I step, I jab. Step, I can actually drag and then punch with the backhand. Step as I jab and protect myself as I'm retreating. From the side, let's take a look at that. Step as I jab and drag up. Step as I jab and drag back. Step, drag forward. Step, drag back. The last two are called push drag and pull drag. Push drag we use in several art techniques. It's learning us how to get out of the way in a very practical way. So what this means is, if I have an opponent coming at me and I want to move to the side, okay, rather than doing a step and a drag, or a drag and then a step, notice how I have to use the word "and" in there. I'm going to do push drag, which means I kind of move both feet at the same time. So if I'm pushing off of this foot, I just lift the other one as I push, and they both move together. This is a faster maneuver because both feet are moving at the same time. Let's watch this again. Push and then drag. If I want to come back in the same way, I push off this foot and drag in. The push drag is very important because it teaches us a lot of coordination and timing, and it is quick to get out of the way. From here, if I want to move back, push drag. I push with my front foot. Now when I want to push with my back leg, I just push off it and drag, and see if both feet move together. Just like we did before, the opposite of push drag isn't drag push, but it's pull drag. And this one's a little bit more complicated. Well, from here, what I'm going to do is one leg's going to lift up and it's going to pull the other leg, like so. I know it looks kind of funny. And then the rear leg does the same. However, this can work in sparring in martial arts. If I'm moving in on an opponent and I just push drag in and I'm covered like this, he can hit me here, come around and hit me. What I do is I bring my knee up high and touch my elbow, which the whole front of me is guarded as I move in. And then I can counter. I kind of smother him. So from the side, it looks like this as I moved in. And then moving back, it would look like this. That is called the pull drag. Okay, the next foot maneuver I want to cover is called cover. Cover is very unique to Kempo Karate, where most martial arts don't practice cover. We need to do this in order to defend ourselves properly. What cover simply means is this. I'm in a fighting stance. I have an opponent in front of me. I also have another opponent coming behind me. What I want to do to cover myself is to take the foot that is furthest from the opponent coming behind me or from my blind side, take that foot, step over, and now I face my opponent. As opposed to taking the foot that's closest to him coming behind me, stepping it over, and now I open up to my opponent. Let's take a look at this from the side view. I'm facing this way now, and I have an opponent coming behind me. If I sense the opponent coming behind me, I take the foot that's furthest from him, step it over, and then when I turn, I'm covered. However, from my fighting stance, if I take the foot that's closest to this opponent, step over this way, I open up to him. So cover basically means is wherever you have an opponent coming at you from a blind side, whether it's behind you where you can't see, or over your shoulder in this action. See, from here I can see well, and from the front I can see well, but here I have to look. Again, if I had an opponent coming from my blind left side right now, I would take the foot that's furthest away from him, step it over, and then face him. And that's called cover. Thank you. Okay, next is called switching. And basically we have three types of switches from a fighting stance. If I want to switch, I just simply switch my stance in place. Both legs switch. Boom. The key to switching, though, is not to try to come up. You try to keep your knees bent and maintain the same height. Switch. All right? Fighting an opponent, I might want to switch. I could switch, then kick them, or do whatever I want. That's called switch in place. The next two are a little different. It's front to back switch. That's where I bring my front foot back and then step forward with my other foot. That's called a front to back switch. So my front leg goes back and then my back leg steps forward. The opposite of that would be a back to front switch. Stepping my back leg up and then stepping my front leg back. These are not as popular as the switch in place. However, in certain techniques, they'll have some sort of purpose. And we'll cover that later when we're doing those techniques. Thank you.